Hey guys, it's CWillyHD here, and welcome back to another episode of Game Breakers. This time we're going to be taking a look at glitches in Yooka Laylee. The spiritual successor to Banjo Kazooie has a ton of weird and useful things you can pull off. Getting out of bounds, skipping to the final boss, breaking an entire world, and more. Before we get started, I am playing on the original version of the game on PC. Some of these glitches may have been patched out, so keep that in mind. If you have the game on Steam and want to play the day 1 version, check the description below. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. Kicking off this episode is a way to skip the tutorial. If you don't want to play through it, even though it's like 20 seconds long, there are 2 ways you can do it. The harder way also skips having to get the 5 quills, but before we do that, let's take a look at the easier way. After collecting the 5 quills, Trowser will open the door to the tutorial. Once inside, instead of going left, head right. All we have to do is double jump and then attack forward at the peak of the jump. You'll slide up and over the slope, allowing you to continue to Hivory Towers. Now if you want to skip getting the quills and the tutorial, here's what you need to do. Right as you start the game, hop onto the pirate ship and there will be these 2 barrels. Begin pushing one off and towards Trowser. Talk to him so he can now use attacks. After that dialogue ends, push the barrel into this corner so it's leaning against the rock. Stand on top, press attack, and then jump almost simultaneously. The barrel will break below you, giving you enough height to double jump onto this small ledge. Now you need to attack while standing on the ground and then walk off the ledge towards this side of the rock. Right before the animation ends, double jump and then attack to get just enough distance to reach this point of land. From here you can run over and jump off, skipping the quills and the tutorial. It's actually a pretty difficult glitch, taking me almost 2 hours to get down, but it is used in speedruns to save time. Once inside Hivory Towers, there's a way to get out of bounds before even entering Tribalstack Tropics. Come up this ramp and stop right as you're at the top. Hug this wall, walk forwards, and start the cutscene. When it ends, we'll be out of bounds. Some of the objects don't render in now, and the view is pretty cool. You can stay out of bounds in the next room by double jumping towards the pipe, attacking while falling off, then double jump attacking towards these bushes. Most of the ceiling isn't solid up here, so be careful and only jump on the bushes. Speedrunners use this glitch in crazy ways to access the next area of the hub world. I'm not going to get into all that though, but it is a fun way to see Hivory Towers. After expanding the world in Tribalstack Tropics, you can use Nimbo to freeze the river area below. After doing that, jump down and head to the right. Back here you'll find an opening of ice that we can just fall down into. Since the river's not water, it doesn't make us swim and we can run around under here. The camera was pretty glitchy until it was placed underneath the ice. Now it just looks like the area's dry again. But anyway, head over and we'll be in this section. Normally you need to bubble yourself to access this Pagie, but we can just hit the switch and fall down into the room below. Slam onto this button to stop the rushing water and collect this Pagie in a different way than usual. Since we aren't in a bubble, we can't just swim back up, so the only way to leave is by exiting to the hub. Staying in Tribalstack Tropics, head up this mountain a little ways until you get here with this wooden bridge. Fall down the little crack and walk to the left. Once you run into this wall, jump up, and congratulations, you're now out of bounds inside the mountain. This is probably the easiest way to get out of bounds in the game, and there's a lot to see here. You can fall down a little and see out into the world, which is now completely empty. Or you can go all the way down to ground level and walk around. There are missing patches of missing land, so be careful not to fall. Once you've had enough, you can walk through most of the walls and pop back in bounds. Over in Glitterglaze Glacier, there's an area that has some strange physics. Go to this area and get on top of these rocks. Jump and glide over to this wall and you'll shoot up into the sky at insane speeds. You can do this just gliding or while flying. This effect seems to occur in other places too. Over on this side you can do it, but it's not as intense. You'll also land up on this platform, which is better than crashing back down like the other wall. I tried finding different spots, but this was the only area I could find with an opening over the void below. This next glitch is a pretty big one. It allows you to skip past the 100 Pagie door and head right to the boss. Normally you aren't able to access the elevator until you have 100 Pagies, but let's avoid actually collecting them. Head outside Hivory Towers towards capital Cashino. Down in this corner there's some toxic water, but we're going to use this to get out of bounds. Jump and perform a buddy slam at this part of the wall. You'll take damage, and while this is going on, jump out and do it again while moving towards the wall. You'll clip through and be on the other side. You don't take damage while in this patch of water, so carefully maneuver over to this beam and double jump. You're now back on solid ground but out of bounds. While there are a few things we can do out here, we're going to go to capital B first. So use Flappy Flight and head this way. It's a pretty simple path to the door, just head this way underneath the toxic river. Once on the other side you should see the elevator, so fly in that direction and be careful not to come up too early as you can clip back in bounds. Once you're directly underneath it, flap on up and into the cutscene. And there you go, you can now beat the game earlier than intended. Just a few quick tips, this patch of water out here is very small, so if you go too far you'll just fall to your death. Like I said before, you can also clip back through the world if you come up too early, which means you have to start the glitch all over again. Anyway, I wanted to see what else you could do with this glitch, so I did some exploring. First, I tried landing on what looked like regular ground, but it was actually by this toxic lake, so I died almost immediately due to the death barrier. In my next attempt, I headed for this tank-looking thing. It took me a second to realize, but I was actually underneath the entrance to Galleon Galaxy. I took flight again and went up. I kept taking damage, but after some mashing, I managed to clip back into the room. I tried this same thing again and this time stayed in the middle. I flew right into the book and it took me into the level. So as you can see, getting out of bounds using this wall opens up a lot of possibilities. It's also just neat to fly around and explore this section of the game from a new angle. Next up is a very popular and useful glitch in capital Cashino. After transforming into a helicopter, fly over to Sir Shoots-a-Lot and begin the timed mission. Instead of actually doing it though, fly into the wager laser room nearby and wait for time to run out. When asked if you want to try again, select no. You'll be teleported back into the main level, but it never actually loaded properly, so this is the outcome. Most of the stage is now just gone and replaced with gray, but the collectibles are still present and ready to be collected. You can fly around to your heart's content, grabbing all the coins, quills, and pages. If you fly to the middle and descend, you'll notice a Pagie floating below the world. Actually, it's not just one, but 6 that you can collect all at the same time. These are normally given to you after completing missions around the world, but they're kept down here so they can't be collected early. But that's exactly what we just did. Exploring the casino this way is really neat. When you're done collecting everything, you can exit back to the hub. Or do what I did and switch back to Yooka Laylee in mid-air and plummet into the void. In case you want another way to get out of bounds in this world, over in this corner there's an exit slide that will close if you try and fly near it. But if you purposely fly too low, then flap up and hold crouch, you'll land inside, slide forward, and the door will be open. Since you stayed crouched, you can now take flight again and flap all the way out of bounds. You can now see inside this glitchy world with the things loading and unloading all over the place. The first time I did this glitch, I flew out and to the left. I landed down in this area underneath the mini golf section to refill the power meter. I flew around some more until the meter ran out and I landed back in bounds. I did the glitch again and flew to the right. I couldn't really find anything to land on, but I did find this Cashino bandit just chilling out here. I then ran out of power and began to fall to my death. However, since there's no way to fall out of the world in this stage, there's no death barrier, so you're just stuck falling into the void. I went back in and did the glitch again, this time heading for the ceiling. I landed on top of the big chandelier in the middle and got this weird camera angle. Then I started sliding until I landed back in bounds. I tried again, but it seems like most of the ceiling is just slippery, so you can't really land anywhere. One thing I should mention is you can use this glitch to collect the Pagie underneath the water area in the middle, but I already collected it. Staying in capital Cashino, head into the wager laser room. Stand in the center and use the reptile rush move. Line up so you're perpendicular to the wall and roll forward. You might not notice it at first, but you're actually stuck now. You can run around in any direction, but you can't escape. There's some weird physics while you're stuck in here as you move really slow. You can really see it when you try and fly up. I had to mash just to get to the ceiling, and then when I tried to slam back down, it was like it was in slow motion. You can go into this corner and squeeze a little ways into it. If you're lucky, an enemy will come by and hit you, which will pop you through to the other side. I tried for the longest time to have this happen, but no enemies came over. But if you do manage to get in, completing the mission this way won't help as you're still stuck. You can get out of this weird state if you come to this corner and mash jump while holding left. I'm not really sure if this is a glitch, but it's still interesting nonetheless. In Galleon Galaxy, head towards the back with the giant planet. Take flight and flap all the way to the top. I was trying to walk the rest of the way when I flew up into midair and died right on the spot. I tried again just flying and the same thing happened. It seems like there's a death barrier all the way up here, which is strange because it's only over top of the planet. I flew up really high over here, but nothing happened. But then as soon as I went in that direction, the same thing occurred. I'm not really sure why this happens or why it's here, but it still creates some funny visuals. So that's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe. I apologize that some of these glitches aren't doable anymore with the updated version of the game, but some of these were too good not to cover. I also want to get back into actual Nintendo game glitches. I have an idea in mind, so be on the lookout for that. But for now, I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, see ya!